All right, today we're jumping way, way back, right to the dawn of humanity. We're going to dive into this incredible story of sorrow, a massive revelation, and a rejection that, well, it pretty much shaped the very first family. So, let's get right into it.
Okay, so to really get this story, you gotta try and put yourself in their shoes, right? I mean, after being exiled from Eden, what did hope even feel like for Adam and Eve? Think about it. For years, maybe decades, maybe even centuries, what was their life actually like day in and day out?
While the source material calls it a time of humiliating grief. Just imagine that for a second. Living under this constant, heavy cloud of regret and self-blame, where any little bit of hope you might have had was just gone, totally eclipsed. This was way more than just being sad. We're talking about a deep, profound spiritual darkness.
And then, just like that, everything changed. After all that time, after living in the shadows of what they'd done, an absolutely remarkable revelation comes straight from God. I mean, this was the moment. The one that split their entire lives into a before and an after.
Just try to wrap your head around what Adam learned here. First off, the fall, it wasn't some cosmic mistake that wrecked everything. No, it was actually part of God's plan. And this life, it's not a punishment, it's more like a probationary period, a time to learn and grow. He learned that life could actually be joyful, and maybe the biggest one of all, getting back to God was possible. Can you even imagine the relief, the weight that must have lifted off his shoulders?
And you know what? This overwhelming message of hope and purpose, well, that is the gospel. That's what the word literally means, good news. And for Adam, you can bet it was the absolute best news he had ever heard.
So Adam is just filled with this incredible new understanding, and he doesn't waste a second. He is so overwhelmed he just rushes to find Eve. He's basically carrying this priceless treasure, the key that unlocked the meaning of everything, and he just had to share it with her.
But what about Eve? How did she react? I mean, think about it. She had been carrying so much of the burden and the blame for all this time. And now, she's about to hear this absolutely life-altering news. This, right here, is really the emotional heart of the whole story.
And the change was, wow. It was instant, and it was total. In a single day, they went from the dismal depths of grief to the exotic heights of heavenly happiness. I mean, listen to that language. It wasn't just a little bit of relief. It was like a volcanic explosion of joy that just completely wiped away generations of sorrow.
Yeah, and in Moses chapter 5, verse 11, we get to hear Eve's joyful exclamation to Adam. She says, "Were not for our transgression, we never should have had seed and never should have known good and evil and the joy of our redemption." See, she didn't just hear the news. She understood the profound, almost paradoxical beauty of it all.
And this is why it was so incredibly powerful for her. You have to remember, for so long, Eve had carried the main weight of the blame. She'd faced condemnation, sorrow, probably even accusations from her own kids. So for her, this revelation wasn't just good news. It was a moment of what the source calls humble vindication. Her greatest trial, the thing that caused so much pain, actually became the key to unlocking the greatest joy.
So they're just completely overcome with emotion. I mean, what else could they do? The scripture in Moses chapter 5, verse 12, says they both raised their faces to heaven. Together they just blessed God's name in this moment of pure, raw, prayerful gratitude.
Okay, so right there, in that shared moment of incredible joy, their first thought is to share it. They realize this isn't just their good news. It's a message for everybody. And they knew exactly where they had to start, with their own children and grandchildren.
So they set off, and the text says they were filled with thrilled anticipation. They truly believed this was going to change everything, not just for all of humanity, but for their own family. Finally, they had the answers to the biggest, hardest questions about life.
And you have to remember the backstory here. For generations, their own kids had probably been asking them, why did this happen? What's the point of all this? And for all that time, Adam and Eve had no answers. That complete ignorance probably cost them a lot of respect. So now, they're hoping this news will finally bridge that gap.
So they gather their children. They get ready to share the most incredible, glorious news you could possibly imagine. But the reaction they got, well, it wasn't the joyous family reunion they were hoping for. Not even close.
And you can almost feel the tension building, can't you? Adam and Eve are slowly, carefully unfolding this amazing message, and the whole time, they're just watching their kids' faces, anxiously searching for any sign, any little spark of understanding or, appreciation.
And nothing. The faces staring back at them were just blank, expressionless. The text says they reflected nothing but cold and wary suspicion. Can you believe that? The greatest news in the history of the world was met with this solid wall of disbelief. And you can practically hear the skeptical gears turning in their kids' minds. Their first thought isn't wow, it's suspicion. Okay, if this is really true, why now? Why has God waited all this time to finally tell you?
And the doubt just gets deeper. To them, their parents' story just sounds secondhand, a little too convenient. Wait a minute, they're thinking, if this message is for all of us, why did he only show up for you two? Why didn't we see him? And that leads right to the core of their disbelief, right? It's a question that comes from pride, from mistrust. It's basically, why you and not us? Why didn't we get our own revelation? The idea that their parents were special enough to be chosen for this, it just seemed, unlikely to them.
So what's their final, heartbreaking conclusion? It's that they didn't just doubt the message, they doubted the messengers. They suspected that their own mom and dad had made the whole thing up, just fabricated the whole revelation. That incredible joy Adam and Eve had finally found was met with an accusation that they were liars. And that created a tragic, deep rift right down the middle of the very first family. And this whole story, from the heights of joy to the depths of rejection, it leaves us with this really profound question from the source material. Is righteousness supposed to succeed because there's no evil around to challenge it? Or is it supposed to succeed in spite of evil? That's a question that started with the very first family. And you know what? It's still echoing today.